Hey everybody, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make two tags, and they both use a lot of different collage papers. So the collage papers that I am using on an Insta background for both of them were put on kind of like yellow pages, that newsprint paper. That paper works so well for collaging down. It's nice and thin. And today I'm working on a number 12 tag, which measures 8 inches by 4 inches. You'll be seeing me working on tags more frequently. Once I put a layer of fluid matte medium, I'm putting the collage paper on, and I'm just using the brayer to make sure I have good adhesion. I cut off the excess, and now I'm putting another paper using that same newsprint type paper from a phone book. This one was made by cleaning off the brayer when I did a gel printing session. I love using this paper because it's nice and thin and it doesn't add bulk to your projects. So here I am just cutting off the excess, checking underneath, making sure that everything is perfectly adhered. And then I give this a good dry before we start to design each of the tags. Now, on that phone book type paper, there was some yellow that was peeking through that green and blue and teal. And so I used it as inspiration and I grabbed this yellow stencil butter from the Crafter's Workshop and one of their stencils, and I'm stenciling this in. So it's making this bright, bold yellow color. And it's adding some shimmer and shine as only those stencil butters can. And I'm putting this on in three places, and then I'm going to make sure that this dries. Now, had it not been for the yellow peeking through, I'm not sure that I ever would have chosen to put yellow on here. But you take inspiration from wherever it comes and you roll with it. So now that that is dry, I wanted to try some focal images. And I looked through my magazine pictures and some of my printables. Okay, they all would have worked. Well, I like the orange on that with the background. And then I came across this sunflower napkin from Ninny's Napkins. And I hate to admit it, but this one was already in the discard pile. It's too cluttered for how I normally do. But I love that yellow, and it so matched the yellow that I had put in the stencil butter. So I decided that I'm just going to cut out some of the sunflowers. Basically, I'm looking at these circular shapes. Now, this flower has little flecks of red in it, which I'm also going to take inspiration from. So I'm just cutting these out from the napkin. All the plies are still on. And then I decide I'm going to grab some red. Now, this is a magazine page, and I just grab some of my circle punches and I'm punching those circles out. So here's a good example of one idea leads to the next idea. You just never know where a page is going to go. Magazine pages, this has texture, it has some pattern on it, and the color. So I'm just cutting out more with my circle punches and then playing with it on the card or on the tag, trying to come up with whatever composition I like. But I love the circles. I love those bright colors, the red, the yellow, and that teal that's in the background. Now I want to glue the sunflowers from the napkin onto the page, but because the background is dark, I need to glue these down. Now you could just glue them onto copy paper, or you can use iron decoupage sheets. Now these are sheets that I've made, and I will link that video. I've just put a layer of Mod Podge on it and it dries. Then once I've peeled off the excess plies, I put the napkin on there, use my mini iron underneath parchment paper, and it adheres it. And now I'm just going to cut it out. And now when I glue them down, you won't see the background coming through. So I I stopped everything and I made lots of these. I harvested all these beautiful sunflowers and I think I can use this on another project and I'm storing it in my little CD case turned ephemera case. And now I'm ready to glue everything down. And I'm using fluid matte medium here. You can use gel medium. I might have been better off. Now, once you've used those decoupage sheets on there, you've glued the napkin on, when you're gluing it at this stage, you've got to be gentle with it because if you rub too hard, once that napkin gets wet again, sometimes it will rip. You'll get a hole in it. So just exercise a little bit of caution, a little bit of gentleness, and away you go. So we have the background was collage paper that was made out of phone book, yellow pages. The red dots are from magazines, and then we have napkins. And look at how this all just came together. I'm just cutting off the excess when it's dry. And then edging, I've got some black acrylic paint on the makeup sponge and I'm just edging it to frame my tag. My sentiment was a little faded. Photocopy wasn't exactly great. So I grabbed my gel pen and I'm just darkening up the word simply. And then adding some faux stitching, some dashes around the red circles. The Sakura glaze pen, it's dimensional and it's glossy and just adds a little bit of extra something above the color. I'm just adding a little bit of shading on my images, on the circles, just to make it stand out a little bit more and just to add a little more detail. So from this, what can you get? Use collage papers. Collage papers can come from magazines, from napkins, from brayered off, cleaning off your brayer when you're doing a gel press session. Can't talk. The other thing, this is a winning color combination. The yellow, the red, the teal, yum. There's where we started and there's where we ended. Who knew? So let's do the second one. And again, this was done on that newsprint type paper from a phone book or yellow pages. And then I had this hole punched through this copy paper or the paper punch, a circle. And I thought, I'm just going to use this as like a stencil and just put some white paint through this. The X's, the stamping on this was just a little too predominant. I wanted to knock that back a little bit. Wasn't sure where I wanted to go. Saw this on my desk. I thought, why not? I'm determined when I do these tags that I'm just going to play. I'm not going to try to overthink it. Then I grab some of the blue that I have in the background and some of the purple, and I'm shading around some of those circles, just so they're not exactly just white. At this time, I had no idea what focal image I was going to put on here. I've had, for the other tag, I had pulled out a lot of focal images. I just thought, I'm just going to have fun. Then I put that handmade stencil back on and I'm stamping some script through it just to get onto those circles. They just looked a little too plain. And this is what I call the dance. We put on stuff, we knock it back. We add more, then we knock it back until we're happy. Now I looked and I found this is a coffee filter that I've colorized. And I thought, you know what? It's that right shade of purple. It even had some of that lighter blue on it. I'm just going to collage this down. So another example of collage papers. You can make your own by colorizing your coffee filters. At this point, I'm thinking I'm going to put that flower on there. But first things first, I'm just gluing the coffee filter down with the fluid matte medium. And just layering up pieces of that coffee filter. So once that's dry, I cut off the excess and then I grabbed my stamp. There was some of this mark on there. I just wanted a little bit more present. So I add more. And then maybe do I want the butterfly? Do I want this fairy? Oh, you know what? I like this apple blossom, cherry blossom. And you know what? Stop overthinking it, Karen. Glue it down. But having that more solid purple behind it allowed this to stand out. So again, I'm gluing it down with fluid matte medium. Now I have excess paper here, so I grab that phone book, yellow page book. I'm just brayering on the leftover paint in that teal, blue, and purple. So I use up some collage papers and then in the end I use leftover paint and made another collage paper. This I'll file away and you'll see me use it some other day. Here I'm just putting a little bit of gesso on top, mutes it down. Now I could add more stenciling or stamping on this, but my paint was done, so I can add that when I'm going to use it. I grab my angle brush and I'm just shading around the edge of the tag. And then I grab a small round brush and I'm adding some gesso on top. Now this is just a printable that has been printed out on copy paper. I wanted to look a little bit more painted. So I'm putting a coat of gesso. I'm being a little bit careful not to go over the petal lines. I want to be able to see them. Once the gesso is dry, I'm going to shade the petals. So tags are great if you're short on time, if you want to experiment. It's not too daunting, it's not too big. So which of the tags are your favorite? Do you like the one with the yellow, the red, and the teal, the sunflowers? Or do you like the cherry blossom one, this one? Let me know in the comment section below. I grabbed my Secura Glaze pen, well, because it was right out there because I had just used it. And I'm just adding the centers of the flowers. Then I got my General's charcoal and I'm just putting some sketchy lines. Again, outlining the petals, just making it stand out a little bit more. And I have to add a sentiment. Every moment matters. Once that's dry, I outlined it with the Secure Glaze pen, and there you have it. Don't forget to vote and let me know which one you like the best. Until next time, grab a tag and go get creative.